My wife came through the front door, scratching the side of her neck like she had brushed against a patch of poison ivy. "We seriously need to change detergents," she said immediately, barely glancing in my direction. "Whatever cheap brand you bought is giving me a reaction." I looked up from my laptop in the home office. "I bought the exact same one we've used for the last 3 years." She shrugged impatiently. "Well then, something's different." She tugged her collar down a little, exposing the skin along her collarbone. "Just look at this, it keeps spreading." She wasn't exaggerating. The rash looked irritated and swollen, red marks stretching across her collarbone and disappearing under her shirt. "Maybe you should go see a doctor," I said carefully. "It's probably just contact dermatitis," she replied quickly. "I'll grab some cream from the pharmacy." But 3 days later, it looked even worse. The redness had crept down her arms and across her chest. Finally, she agreed to see a dermatologist. I drove her to the appointment and waited in the lobby while she went inside. About 45 minutes later, she came back out, her face pale and her eyes slightly red. "What did they say?" I asked quietly. "Allergic reaction," she answered quietly. "They gave me a prescription." She wouldn't meet my eyes. That night, I was digging through her purse looking for the insurance card when I noticed the dermatologist's report folded at the bottom. I opened it. The diagnosis wasn't contact dermatitis. It was something you only get one way, and it definitely wasn't caused by our detergent. If you want to know what that report actually said and what I did once I read it, hit subscribe, because what happened after that didn't just destroy our marriage, it destroyed someone's career too. My name is Nathan Cross. I'm 39 years old and I live in Austin, Texas. I work as a software engineer, mostly from home. It's a stable job, good salary, flexible schedule, the kind of quiet life that might look dull from the outside but feels comfortable once you're inside it. My wife Lauren works as a real estate agent. She's the complete opposite of me. Fast-paced, constantly moving, always showing houses, meeting new clients, negotiating deals. We've been married 8 years. No kids yet. Lauren always said she wanted to wait until her career was more firmly established before starting a family. I believed we had a solid marriage. Not perfect, of course. Nobody's is. She worked late most evenings. I often worked strange hours, finishing projects or joining meetings with different time zones. Sometimes we would go a couple of days barely seeing each other, except in passing. But I trusted her completely. Looking back now, that trust was probably my first mistake. The whole thing started on a Tuesday evening. I was sitting in my home office debugging a stubborn piece of code when Lauren came through the front door around 7. She dropped her purse on the counter, slipped off her heels, and immediately started scratching her neck again. "You okay?" I called from the other room. "No," she answered, walking toward my office. She was still scratching when she stepped into the doorway. "Look at this." She pulled down the collar of her blouse again. Red marks covered her collarbone, angry raised bumps creeping up the side of her neck. "Wow," I said, standing up. "What happened?" "I have no idea," she replied. "It started itching this afternoon during a showing. I thought maybe it was the perfume sample I tried at lunch, but it keeps getting worse." She scratched again and winced. "It's driving me insane." "Maybe you should take some Benadryl," I suggested. "I already did," she said. "It didn't help." I leaned closer to get a better look. The rash had started spreading. Small red bumps clustered together, and some looked like they were beginning to blister slightly. "Lauren, that doesn't look good. You should really see a doctor." "It's just an allergic reaction," she insisted. "I'll be fine." But she wasn't fine. Over the next 2 days, the rash continued spreading down her arms and across her chest, even showing up on her stomach. She tried every over-the-counter treatment we had in the bathroom cabinet. Calamine lotion, hydrocortisone cream, aloe gel. None of it made any difference. Eventually, she started sleeping in the guest room because she couldn't stop scratching at night. I could hear the faint sound of her fingernails against her skin through the wall. On Thursday morning, I found her standing in the bathroom, staring at herself in the mirror. Her eyes were red like she'd been crying. "This is getting worse," she said quietly. "You need to see a dermatologist," I told her firmly. "Today." For once, she didn't argue. She simply nodded. I called around and eventually found a dermatologist with an opening that afternoon. Dr. Sarah Chen. Good reviews. Office downtown. I offered to go with her, but she shook her head. Nathan, it's just a rash. I don't need you holding my hand. I'm not trying to, I said. I just thought, I'll be fine. She left around 2 in the afternoon. I went back to work but couldn't focus properly. Something about the situation felt strange. Not the rash itself, that was obviously real. It was the way Lauren was acting about it, the way she didn't want me going with her, the distance between us that had been building all week. I convinced myself I was just overthinking things.
I wasn't. Lauren returned around 4:30. She walked straight past me, went into the bedroom, and shut the door. I waited a few minutes, then knocked. Hey, what did the doctor say? Allergic reaction, she replied from the other side. They wrote me a prescription. I'm going to pick it up. Want me to grab it for you? I asked. No, she said. I need to get out of the house anyway. She left again and came back about an hour later carrying a small pharmacy bag. That evening, she took the medication and went to bed early. I tried making conversation, but she said she was exhausted. The next morning, she was gone before I woke up. She'd left a quick note on the counter. Early showing, be back late. That pattern continued throughout the week. Lauren was barely home. Early showings, late closings, client meetings, open houses during the weekend. When she was home, she spent most of her time in another room, talking on her phone with the door closed. The medication started helping. The rash slowly faded, but the emotional distance between us kept growing. One evening, I finally asked directly, "Are we okay?" She glanced up from her phone. "What do you mean?" "Us, are we okay?" She frowned. "Of course we are. Why wouldn't we be? You've just seemed distant lately." She sighed like the question annoyed her. "Nathan, I've been dealing with a painful rash and trying to keep my business running at the same time. Sorry if I'm not being attentive enough for you." The way she said it made me feel like I'd done something wrong. "I'm just worried about you," I said quietly. "I'm fine." She went back to her phone. I returned to my office and stared at my computer screen, feeling strangely like a guest in my own home. The following Tuesday, I was doing laundry when I noticed Lauren's purse sitting on the kitchen counter. Her wallet had slipped out and some papers were scattered beside it. I wasn't snooping, I was simply trying to tidy things up. But when I picked up the papers, I noticed the letterhead at the top. Dr. Sarah Chen, Dermatology. The document was folded neatly in half. For a moment, I considered putting it back without reading it, but something stopped me. Maybe it was the way Lauren had been acting. Maybe it was instinct. I unfolded the paper. At the top, it listed the patient name, Lauren Cross. Underneath was the visit date, then the diagnosis written in clear clinical language. Dermatitis secondary to allergic reaction consistent with contact exposure to latex proteins. Pattern and distribution suggest intimate contact. I read the words again slowly. Latex proteins, intimate contact. My brain tried to make sense of it. Latex, like condoms. The rash hadn't been caused by our detergent, it had been caused by latex, from condoms. The problem was we didn't use condoms. We hadn't used them in years. Lauren had an IUD. I stood in my kitchen holding a single piece of paper that suddenly rewrote the entire story of my marriage. I didn't confront her right away. I needed time to think, to make sure I wasn't misinterpreting something. I snapped a photo of the report with my phone and placed the original document back in her purse exactly where I'd found it. Then I went into my office and started researching latex allergic reactions related to physical contact. The results confirmed exactly what the report suggested. Repeated exposure to latex during intimate contact can cause severe dermatitis in people who are sensitive to it. The rash pattern Lauren had across her neck, chest, and arms matched the typical distribution of someone who had been in close physical contact with latex products, such as gloves or condoms. My hands started shaking. I called the only person I trusted to be brutally honest with me, my brother, Jake. Jake's a lawyer. More specifically, he's a divorce lawyer. "I need to talk to you," I said when he answered. "What's going on?" "Not over the phone. Can you meet me?" "Now?" "Now." We met at a coffee shop near his office. I showed him the photo of the report on my phone. He read it once, looked up at me, then read it again more slowly. Damn, he muttered quietly. Yeah. You're absolutely sure you guys don't use condoms? Positive. She has an IUD. We stopped using them years ago. Jake leaned back in his chair, thinking, Nathan, I'm really sorry. What am I supposed to do? First thing, he said, don't confront her yet. Are you serious? I have a medical report. A report that says she had contact with latex. It doesn't explain how. She could argue it came from something else. Medical gloves at a clinic, some random exposure. You need stronger evidence. I hated hearing it, but I knew he was right. So what do I do? Jake leaned forward. You watch, you document, you don't tell her you know anything yet. And when you have enough proof, you come back to me. I went home that night and acted normal. Lauren came home late and said she'd been at a closing. I asked how it went. She said it went fine. We ate leftover Thai food while a random show played on TV. She scrolled through her phone while I pretended to watch the screen. Everything looked normal, but it all felt like a performance. After she went to bed, I sat alone in my office and made a decision.
I wasn't going to ignore the truth just because it was painful. I was going to find out exactly what was happening. The next morning, I did something I never imagined I would do. I installed monitoring software on our shared home computer. Nothing illegal, just a program that tracked activity, like websites visited and emails accessed. Lauren sometimes used that computer to manage her real estate listings and answer clients. If there was anything hidden there, the program would record it. I felt uneasy doing it, like I was crossing a boundary, but the boundary had already been crossed long before that moment. It took 3 days. On Friday afternoon, I checked the activity logs. Most of it looked normal. Real estate websites, Zillow, MLS listings. But then I noticed something strange. A Gmail account I didn't recognize had been logged into twice that week, both times while I had been stuck in work meetings. The email address was lcross.realty2@gmail.com. We already had a shared personal email account, and she had her official work email through her brokerage. Why did she need a third account? I tried to access it, password protected obviously, but the monitoring software had captured some of the email subjects before she deleted them. Tonight? Miss you? When can we meet again? My stomach dropped. I took screenshots, saved them to a secure folder. Then I called Jake. I found something. Jake looked at the screenshots in his office. This is good, he said. Not conclusive, but good. Good, I repeated. My wife has a secret email account where someone's sending her messages about meeting up. I know, I'm sorry. I mean, it's good for your case. My case? I said bitterly. I don't even know if I want a case. I just want to know the truth. Nathan, you already know the truth. You're just hoping you're wrong. He wasn't wrong. What's next? I asked. Next, you need to find out who she's talking to. How? Does she have location sharing turned on her phone? We used to. I don't know if she still does. Check. If she does, you can see where she's been. I pulled out my phone, opened Find My Friends. Lauren's location was still shared with me. I scrolled back through her location history. Most of it was normal. Her office, clients' houses, restaurants. But there was one address that came up over and over, an apartment complex in South Austin. She'd been there at least 6 times in the last 2 weeks, always in the evening, always for about 2 hours. What's that address? Jake asked. I pulled it up on Google Maps. Apartment complex, the Meridian. Jake wrote it down. I'll have someone check it out. Someone? I asked. A private investigator, friend of mine, discreet. I hesitated. This was really happening. I was hiring a PI to follow my wife. Do it, I said. The PI's name was Marcus, a former cop, now ran his own investigation firm. We met at his office. I showed him everything, the medical report, the emails, the location data. He didn't judge, didn't offer sympathy, just took notes. I'll follow her for a week, he said. Document where she goes, who she meets. If there's someone else, I'll find out who. How much? He quoted me a number. It was steep, but I didn't care. Do it. He started that Monday. By Wednesday, Marcus called. I've got something. We met at the same coffee shop where I'd met Jake. Marcus slid a folder across the table. Inside were photos.
Lauren's car parked at the Meridian, Lauren walking into the building, Lauren in the elevator with a man I didn't recognize. The man was tall, maybe mid-30s, wearing a suit. "Who is he?" I asked. "His name is Ryan Holloway. He's a loan officer at First National Bank, lives in Unit 4C. I stared at the photo. "How long?" "Based on the location data you gave me and what I've observed this week, I'd say at least 2 months, maybe longer." 2 months? I repeated numbly. Marcus pulled out another photo. This one was time-stamped from yesterday. Lauren and Ryan standing in the apartment complex parking lot, his hand on her lower back, her smiling up at him. They looked comfortable, familiar, like a couple. I felt something inside me crack. "There's more," Marcus said quietly. He showed me another photo. Ryan's car, a silver Audi, parked outside our house. "When was this?" "Last Thursday, around 2 p.m. You were at a work meeting downtown according to your calendar." She'd brought him to our house while I was gone. I closed the folder. "That's enough. You sure I can keep?" "I'm sure." I paid him, took the folder, drove home in a daze. That night, Lauren came home late again. "Sorry," she said, breezing past me. "Closing ran long." I looked at her, really looked at her. She was lying to my face, and she was good at it. "How's the rash?" I asked. She touched her neck absently. "Better, almost gone." "That's good." She smiled, kissed my cheek. "I'm going to take a shower." She walked down the hall, phone in hand, and closed the bathroom door. I sat on the couch, folder on my lap, and made a decision. Tomorrow, I'd call Jake. Tomorrow, this ended. Jake looked at the PI report and nodded slowly. "This is everything we need. What happens now?" "Now we file. Adultery is still relevant in Texas, especially for property division and alimony." "I don't want to drag this out. I just want it over." "Understood. But Nathan, you need to be smart about this. Don't confront her yet. Let me draw up the papers and we'll serve her properly." "When?" "Give me 3 days." 3 days felt like 3 years. I went through the motions: work, dinner, sleep. Lauren didn't notice anything was wrong, or if she did, she didn't care.
On Friday, Jake called. "Papers are ready. We'll serve her Monday morning. At the house, at her office. More professional, less chance of a scene." I agreed. That weekend was surreal. Lauren and I went to brunch, ran errands, watched a movie. She held my hand in the car. I looked at her and wondered how someone could lie so completely. Monday morning, Lauren left for work at 8 a.m. At 10 a.m., Jake texted me. "Done. She's been served." My phone rang 20 minutes later. Lauren. Her name on the screen felt like a punch. I answered. "Hello?" "What the... Nathan?" Her voice was shaking. Rage, not tears. "You got the papers. You're divorcing me without even talking to me?" "There's nothing to talk about." "Nothing to... Are you serious right now?" "I know about Ryan." Silence then. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Ryan Holloway, the Meridian Apartments, Unit 4C. More silence. "Nason, I have photos, Lauren. Dates, times. I know everything." Her breathing changed. "You've been spying on me. You've been cheating on me." It's not what you think." "Then what is it?" She didn't answer. "That's what I thought," I said. "My lawyer will be in touch." I hung up. My hands were shaking, but I felt clear. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe. Lauren tried calling back. I didn't answer. She sent texts. I didn't read them. She came home that night. I wasn't there. I packed a bag and checked into a hotel. Jake advised me to stay away until things cooled down. "Just let her process," he said. "Let her lawyers see what we have. They'll realize fighting this is pointless." It took 2 weeks. Lauren's lawyer, some guy named Brad from a strip mall office, called Jake. They wanted to settle. We met in a conference room, neutral territory. Lauren looked smaller than I remembered. Tired. Brad did most of the talking. "My client is willing to agree to a division of assets. She keeps her car, her retirement account. You keep yours. The house gets sold. Proceeds split 50-50. And,"
Jake prompted. Brad shifted. And she requests that the evidence not be made public. The affair? Jake clarified. Yes. Jake looked at me. I nodded. My client agrees with one condition, Jake said. Mrs. Cross signs a statement admitting to the affair, notarized for the record. Brad looked at Lauren. She looked at the table. Fine, she whispered. The divorce was finalized 60 days later. I got the house. She didn't want it. Too many memories. She got a car and her accounts. No alimony, no drama. Just done. 6 months later, I was sitting in my living room now, when I got a message on LinkedIn. Ryan Holloway. I stared at the name, debated blocking him. Instead, I opened it. Nathan, I know you have no reason to listen to me, but I wanted to say I'm sorry. What happened was wrong. I didn't know she was married until it was too late, and by then, I'm not making excuses. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry. I read it twice. Then I typed back. You didn't ruin my marriage. You just exposed what was already broken. No hard feelings. I hit send and closed the app. Because it was true. Lauren didn't cheat because of Ryan. She cheated because she'd already checked out. The Rash just made it visible. A year later, I met someone new. Her name is Claire. She's a teacher. Honest, kind, terrible at hiding her emotions. When she's happy, you know. When she's upset, you know. There's no guessing, no secret emails, no hidden rashes. Just truth. We took it slow. I told her about Lauren, about the divorce, about the dermatologist's report that changed everything. She listened, didn't judge, just held my hand. I'm glad you found out, she said. You deserve better. I'm starting to believe that, I said. The house sold last month. Lauren and I split the proceeds. I bought a smaller place, a condo downtown. Fresh start. I don't think about her much anymore. Sometimes I wonder if she's still with Ryan, if they're happy. Mostly, I just feel free. Because the truth is, that rash wasn't the problem. It was the answer I'd been too afraid to ask for. And once I had it, everything else fell into place. If this story hit home, comment, I found out. If you've ever ignored the signs, if you've ever trusted when you shouldn't have, if you've ever had the truth hit you like a freight train, this one's for you. Hit subscribe for more stories about the moment everything changes. Because sometimes, the truth doesn't set you free. It just shows you the door, and you have to be brave enough to walk through.